So in this video, we will begin to learn how to create a function. So here we have an example using the date object where we are determining what the day of the week is. In a more realistic situation, you would probably be writing out the complete date or maybe putting a clock on your web page. We are displaying the day of the week in our window.onload section using this expression. Now there's nothing wrong with doing it this way. The purpose is to show you how this code can be used in the context of a function. So we always need our placeholder. So rather than having this statement here, we can replace that statement with a function. Here in the top of my script block, I have created a function. And this is a named function because we use the JavaScript keyword, and now I am giving it a function name. This is the name that I have chosen for this function. And functions are always followed by parentheses. Some functions will take parameters, some will not. Functions are followed by the curly brace delimiters, and all of the code that belongs inside that function is placed there. So all of my code is stored inside that function. Now in my window.onload section, all I do is call that function. Notice because I am calling this function outright, I will include the double parentheses. The double parentheses indicate that the minute JavaScript reads this, it will execute it. So it is executing it when the page loads, and that is an event. That is the load event of the window object. And functions are typically connected with events. When an event occurs, we can program a function to be called. So when this onload event occurs, we are saying, call this function. So when our page loads, here we see the output of that function. Today is Friday. The output will be where I told it to be inside the function. The function is called where it needs to be called. Now suppose we didn't want that function to be called as soon as the page loaded. Supposing we wanted to be called from another event. So here in my body, I have a form element which contains a click button. My button has an ID of btn. So when the user clicks that button, that is a click event, and it can call the show day of week function. In the head section, my function exists as always. I am still writing the day of the week to my h3 placeholder. The only difference is that in my window.onload section, I am no longer calling the function as soon as the page loads. I am calling it when I click on the button. So here I am referencing the object, which is the button with ID btn, and this is my event on click. So when I click on that button, I will call this function. Notice when I call the function from the onClick, I do not have the double parentheses. And this is the most commonly used scenario for function calls. Being called from other events outside of a page load, you generally do not use the double parentheses unless you are passing a parameter. When I click my button, now I will see the date. Supposing I wanted to take all this and place it in an external file so that my document is a little bit cleaner and easier to read. All I really care about is what's happening when the user clicks the button. So I can take this code and I can store it in an external file and I can save it with a .js extension. This is how I would call my external file. I need an opening and closing script tag. The source of that script tag indicates the name of the JavaScript file, and if there is a path, you would need to indicate that. So here is my function call, the same as always, in my window.onload. I am referencing the object that will be clicked on. I am referencing that it will be clicked on, and I am indicating the function to be executed if that click does occur. So when I click on the button, the code is executed, and I see the day of the week.